Okay, well, you're back. It's week 5, day 2. The goal today is to understand the AO cross and the AO Twin Peaks SPY. We're going to be covering 2 today because the AO cross is real simple. So let's go ahead and take a look. Rules for the AO cross the line buy. Always read from left to right. It only takes 2 bars to create this signal. Your first bar must be below the 0 line. Second bar must cross above the 0 line. So in other words, we're going from a positive number to a negative number. And you cannot have a buy and sell signal at the same time. That should make sense to you now. You can only have a buy signal on a green bar, and you can only create a sell signal with a red bar. And there's no way to have a red and a green bar at the same time. So you have one or the other, or none. Once your signal is created, you're going to go to the corresponding price bar and add 1 tick to the high for your buy stop. And you'll notice throughout the course that this will be the same. We try to stay together. We try not to make you have to learn too many things. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the AO cross buy. Okay, so here's the AO cross buy. We're going to look at it again here before we actually look at it on the chart. So here's your 0 line. Notice the red bar, because if it's going to be green, it has to be increasing. So it's increasing and getting closer to 0, closer, or actually it's a smaller negative number at this point where my cursor is. Next bar comes out. That is the signal bar. That triggers the signal. You have gone from below the 0 line, being a negative number, to crossing above the 0 line. You would follow this bar up to the corresponding price bar, add 1 tick to the high. That would be your buy stop. Now I've written up here, when the path of least resistance changes from down to up, this creates a buy signal. So remember, it's always going to be easier in the market to buy above 0 than it's going to be below 0. Now let's look at it on the chart. Real simple. This is probably the easiest signal we have. Notice that the momentum's increasing. It's coming up, approaching 0. At this point, it's still negative. Next bar crosses above. This is a positive number. This is your signal bar. Follow it up. Here's your price bar. 1 tick to the high, and it was filled the next day. So you see what I mean? This is a real easy signal. When we go through the sell side, you're going to see the sells are going to be just the opposite. So let's now go on to the Twin Peaks buy. The rules for the Twin Peaks buy. This is the only buy signal below the 0 line. This is very important. You need to keep this in mind. Remember, this will be the only buy signal below 0. Your first peak must be a larger negative number than the second peak. That's another big rule. You must remember that. Your trigger bar will be a green bar and a smaller negative number than either peak. If any bars cross the 0 line within the Twin Peaks, the signal is invalid, and a saucer sell will be created before a Twin Peaks buy is created. So here it is. Now this is the 0 line. Remember, we're below 0. You see the momentum is increasing to the downside. Then we have a change, pulls back. You have 1 green, 2 greens. Now remember, this is kind of a pristine example. There can be 50 green bars in between. We don't care. What matters here is that point A is a larger negative number than point B. Then the next bar comes out, green bar. That triggers our Twin Peaks buy signal. So let's go over it. You have a peak, change in momentum, another peak that is less than the first peak, and then the green bar comes out. That triggers our Twin Peaks buy signal. Now let's take a look at that on the chart. Okay, so here we are on the chart. Notice that the momentum is coming down, is increasing to the downside, larger negative numbers. Then we have a change in momentum. It starts to pull back up, closer to the 0 line. Then at this point, it comes back down again. So at this point here, actually at this bar, we have a saucer sell signal. I know we haven't covered that yet, but some of you may have already figured that out. There's your saucer sell. But this day comes out, and it changes everything. Now we have a Twin Peaks buy signal. This peak is definitely taller, or a larger negative number, than this peak. And then this bar comes out, green bar again. So let's take a look at it here. You're going to follow that up, 1 tick above the high, and then it's going to be filled on the next bar. Okay, so we've covered day 2 of week 5. We talked about the AO cross the line, and we've talked about the AO Twin Peaks. Remember, the Twin Peaks will be your only buy signal below 0. And what you're really going to see in the market many times is that the AO Twin Peaks would be your first signal when a change of trend is happening. The next thing you're going to see is across the line, and then the AO saucers are going to be created. So keep that in mind when you're looking at them. It's kind of a sequence of change in trend. Sometimes you're going to create a few Twin Peaks before the change of trend actually happens. But by the time the AO crosses the line, you should be able to see a clear change. So have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.